Today I'm going to make an espresso chocolate chip cookie. Now it starts out with 14 tablespoonfuls of butter. And I remember they really gave Paula Deen a hard time for all of the butter she used in her recipes. And thank goodness they have found that butter is actually good for you as long as you don't overdo it, because we need that fat, and your real butter is what you need. Now we're going to melt this butter down, and then we're going to heat it long enough until we brown the butter. And the butter begins to take on kind of a golden color, and that's what we want. And then we will add our other ingredients. Okay, as you can see, the butter fat kind of comes to the top of that, and underneath it you can see it has turned that light golden brown, and that's what we want. Now in most cases we would skim off the foamy part, but for our cookies we are not. I'm going to add to that 1 tablespoonful of espresso powder, and I'm going to mix that in while it's still hot. And that is so it will melt that espresso powder, and we'll have coffee butter. Doesn't that sound good? Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to set this off of the stove and let this cool for anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes. Okay, this is cooled for 10 minutes, and it's supposed to be just about room temperature. Now, it has all these little things in the bottom. That's all right. I was going to strain it, and then I decided that is just coffee goodness, and we're going to leave that in there. To that, while it's still warm, but not hot, we're going to add 1/2 of a cup of brown sugar plus 2 tablespoonfuls. Now that's hard to remember, isn't it? I'm going to stir that up. Just because it's easier to stir up and mash any lumps out of that brown sugar before you add your other ingredients. Okay, and now I'm going to add 1/2 cup of plain white sugar. I'm going to stir that up. Now the reason you wanted it to cool down a little bit is because at this stage you're going to add 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. And you're going to mix that in. Now if your mixture would have been too hot, you would have seen streaks of egg in it where it had cooked, but you do not. And now you see it's mixed up really good. The butter is not separating from the sugar. And now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I'm going to stir that in. Okay, here I have 1 2/3 cup plus 1 teaspoon. Doesn't that just throw you when they do that? Okay, and to that I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of my favorite, cinnamon. And I'm just going to mix that in a little bit. Going to gradually add that to our mixture of butter, egg, sugar, vanilla. Okay, if you notice, all of that coffee has just melted into the flour. And to that, I'm going to add 1 cup?
3/4.
3/4 of a cup. If we'd have added a cup, it would have been all right. But 3/4 of mini chocolate chips. And these are the semi-sweet. We're going to mix those up. And then we're going to take a scoop and put them onto a cookie sheet that has been lined with parchment paper. I have my cookie scoop here, and I'm just going to scoop me out. Looks like I needed to get that flour in there first. And I'm going to put them onto my pan. Now, as you see, they kind of hold up because it's a very thick dough. Now, this will make about anywhere from 22 to 24 cookies. So we're going to need 2 large cookie sheets. And after we get these filled, we're going to put them into the freezer for 2 hours. Okay, we have just now gotten our cookies out of the freezer. I'm going to put them directly into a 350-degree oven, and they're going to bake anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, our time is up, and I'm going to get the first batch out, set them there to begin cooling, and put my second tray in. Now, the funny thing about this recipe, it says that it will make between 22 and 24 cookies. Guess how many cookies it made? 23. So I guess that's between 22 and 24.